Hi there, I am Monica Burns, and welcome to the new Easy EdTech podcast episode. As a former New York City public school teacher and current EdTech consultant, I started this podcast in 2019 to share my favorite classroom tech integration tips and stories from my experiences. Each episode offers practical ideas for you to try, share, or save for later. Be sure to check out classtechtips.com/podcast for today's show notes and resources. And if you're listening on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcasts, or another favorite podcast app, you'll find the show notes link in the description too. This episode is sponsored by the free stuff section of my website. Did you know that there is a page on my site full of free stuff and favorites? You can find weekly planner pages for educators, 60 plus time-saving prompts to use with ChatGPT, graphic organizers for students, and lots more. You can find the free stuff section on my website by going to classtechtips.com and clicking the free stuff button at the top of the page. That's classtechtips.com. This week's episode is all about presentations, specifically tools students can use to create presentations over the course of the school year. Making a great presentation isn't just about slides and bullet points. There are a wide variety of fun and easy to use tools that can help students and teachers make presentations. In addition to some of, and maybe you fall into this category too, in addition to some of the favorites like PowerPoint and Google Slides, there are lots of tools to choose from that can really make your presentations pop. So if you're looking for a few student-friendly tools to make presentations, well, I've got you covered in today's episode. You're going to find a handful that are really customizable given the situation you might be in with a group. Great for different subjects areas, great for different age levels. You'll find a few that are a better fit for elementary versus secondary students. And I've included a few super popular, you've probably heard of them before, resources, as well as a couple of unexpected choices on the list. So let's go ahead and dive in. I've got just about a dozen favorites for you. First up is a favorite, Google Slides. It's super popular and a free tool within Google Drive. Kids can collaborate in real time and easily share their presentations. They can make a wide range of slide decks and even use Google Slides to create comic strips to present information. I'm going to put the link to all of the tools I talk about today on the show notes for today's episode. And when it comes to Google Slides, I'll also put a link there for you that will show you how to create comic strips to present information. That might be an unexpected way to use a very popular tool. Next up is Prezi, Prezi. You might remember Prezi. It was pretty popular a few years ago, and it is coming back onto the scene. I've just heard someone just went into my DMs on Twitter to remind me about Prezi not that long ago. And you might first think about Prezi as the tool with the zooming user interface. You'd jump around from one area to another on a canvas in order, like a presentation. But they have many resources for students to create dynamic and visually engaging presentations. They've got a page full of templates for students, a page with templates for educators, and I'll link out to those in the show notes, but you can find them on Prezi's website. There's a lot going on there. Another favorite is Microsoft PowerPoint Online. Now, Microsoft's classic presentation tool is one that you can access on a computer. You can download it and access it offline, or there's an online version that you might want to try out too. It's free to use with your Microsoft account. And I spent a lot of time making PowerPoints growing up. And even when I first became a teacher, this was something that was really the only option. There's a lot of others out there, but this is a classic for a reason. And it's a tool that's used in the workplace throughout different industries. So Microsoft PowerPoint Online may be one to revisit if you're looking for a tool to help students make presentations this year. Next up is Canva. This one is often thought of as a graphic design tool first, and yeah, you bet, right? Super popular graphic design tool. But it also has a great presentation builder with oodles of templates to choose from. Canva for Education is free, and it has lots of supporting resources for students and teachers. If you've joined me for a presentation, I want to say I did this just a few weeks ago. I was presenting in Orlando. I was presenting on formative assessment for educators, and we were talking about Canva and using their presentation slides. You can export them as a PNG or JPEG file and pop them into the back of Jamboard as a background. So super dynamic. You could use the presentation tools really traditionally as a background within another tool. There's a lot of ways to use Canva for education. So if you're thinking of it more for graphic design or making infographics with students, think about checking out their presentation tool. You can present right from within Canva, and you can even present and record to make videos within this tool. Visme is next up on our list, VISME. It's an excellent tool for creating presentations, infographics, and other visual content. They do have a special version for educators, and students can use the education version to create a variety of presentations. So that may be one you want to revisit. Apple Clips is next up on our list. And if you use iPads with students, listen up for this one. You'll definitely want to check out Apple Clips. It's a fantastic movie making tool. It focuses on short form creations, and it's not technically a website. So if we think about our list as being websites, it's a little bit of a stretch, but it's an iOS app, meaning it works on iPhone and iPad, and a great choice for quick video presentations. You can add captions. I just love it as a presentation tool, especially if you're listening in within an iPad classroom, or you're working with younger students who you might focus a lot more on voice and video than on text. Next on our list is Emaze, E-M-A-Z-E. It's an online presentation software with a range of templates. So you can use it to do automatic presentation translation. And there's an education version coming soon, but you may want to bookmark this one and check it out later this school year. Powtoon is another favorite, especially if you've been in the EdTech space for a while. You might have tried this out in the past. It's perfect for students who want to create animated video presentations. Powtoon lets students create presentations on anything, right? So it could be a math, a science, social studies classroom, you name it, a great alternative to traditional slides. And you can find both their teacher and student examples on their website. Lots of exemplars to choose from. So we've got a big list today in these presentation tools that I think you and your students will love. Google Slides, Prezi, Microsoft PowerPoint Online, Canva, Visme, Apple Clips, Emaze, Powtoon, and next up is Genially. Genially is a versatile tool. You can create slideshow presentations, infographics, video presentations. I did a list of websites to make timelines earlier this year, and I included it on there. And I've done a post in partnership with them in the past, and I love all the templates. I'm always looking for time-saving things, and they've got a bunch. Now, the next tool on the list is a favorite for sure, and oodles of templates there. I'm a big fan of Adobe Express. Some of you might know that I've done some work with their team. I wrote a book with Ben Forda from Adobe all about ways to use Adobe Spark, which is the earlier version of Express, in the classroom. And I featured a lot of their creativity challenges on the blog last year. It's a fantastic tool for students who want to incorporate storytelling into a presentation, and you can combine text, images, voice to create videos, or you can build a web page to present info. So many options. A favorite on our list for sure. Next up is Piktochart. This one helps teachers and students create visually engaging presentations. Kids can use this tool as a way to create like the primary visual that they pop into another presentation, or graphics that they put into a traditional slide deck. So a nice extra one here on the list. Padlet is another favorite, and if you've joined me for a workshop this year, you've probably tried out Padlet alongside me. I was in Kansas City earlier this summer doing a presentation on AI chatbots and instructional planning, and we did this big chatbot challenge, I was calling it, using Padlet. It's a super great tool for organizing information. Padlet can be used creatively for presentations too, so you might use it to add images, links, videos, and other other ways to organize information that becomes a supplement to a traditional presentation. Whether you use this or students use it, it's a really great one, totally a favorite. Now, Beautiful.ai is one that students in higher education might want to try out, or you as a teacher, educator listening today might want to check out too. I included this one on the list. It's called Beautiful.ai because it's an AI-powered presentation tool, and I've just been getting oodles of questions about AI connections to different things, so I thought it would be worth including. It automatically applies design best practices to your slides, and there's a free EDU account, and I'll link out to how you can get one of those in the show notes for today. I don't know anyone at their team or anything like that, but they're offering that on their site for those of you who are in higher ed as a student, right, or working with those students, or for educators who want to explore it. So maybe worth checking out if you are AI curious, wanting to know everything about AI, just like me. That's something you might put on your list of things to explore. So let's run down that list from the top one more time. Today on the podcast, where we're looking at presentation tools that are friendly for teachers and students, we've got Google Slides, Prezi, Microsoft PowerPoint Online, Canva, Visme, Apple Clips, eMaze, Powtoon, Genially, Adobe Express, Pictochart, Padlet, and that Beautiful.ai. Now, I often say, so you might have heard me say this before, do not do all of the things, right? Do not use all of these. Choose just one or two that you want to spend a little more time in, revisit, check out for the very first time. There's lots of great options for student-friendly websites to make presentations, and presentation tools like the one on this list if you want to make your own presentations to share with a group. And this can really help change up your classroom routine, bring in more creativity to the things that kids make. And if I missed your favorite, if you're like, okay, when's Monica going to say this one that you love? Just let me know. I'd love to hear about it. You can send me a message on Instagram at Class Tech Tips, on Twitter or X or whatever the name might be when the time this episode goes live. You can find me, hopefully still there, at Class Tech Tips. Or of course, if you get my weekly newsletter every week, my weekly newsletter, you can go ahead and reply to one of those emails and let me know what you would add to this list. So let's make this episode easy with a few key points from this episode. Choose a tool where you and students can share information. Revisit your tool belt to see if you can rethink a favorite in another way. Share a presentation tool that will help make another educator's life easier so they can try it out as well. Remember, you can find the show notes and the full list of resources from this episode at classtechtips.com/podcast, and finding today's number 228 already. This episode is sponsored by the free stuff section of my website. Did you know that there is a page on my site full of free stuff and favorites? You can find weekly planner pages for educators, 60 plus time-saving prompts to use with ChatGPT, graphic organizers for students, and lots more. You can find the free stuff section on my website by going to classtechtips.com and clicking the free stuff button at the top of the page. That's classtechtips.com. Thanks for joining us for another Tuesday edition of the Easy EdTech podcast. Remember to hit follow on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or your favorite app to have next week's episode ready for you on Tuesday morning. Feel free to share takeaways from this episode with friends or colleagues in a quick email or text, or even on social media. And don't hesitate to tag me at Class Tech Tips if you have any questions.